Welcome to Black Liberty Podcast. I appreciate everybody tuning in today. We got two main topics that we want to talk about today. One, I want to talk about the Chauvin trial, him being sentenced to 22 years. I want to let you know how I feel about that. And also something that's been in the news all over the place. Gwen Berry, Olympic activist, turning her back while the national anthem is playing. So, I want to know how y'all feel about all that. But before we even get into all that, again, I want to thank all my supporters. I want to thank all the love and support that I've been getting. I also want to thank the haters. I always got to thank the haters every single podcast that I get on. This is the 10th episode. I'm so proud of it. I'm so happy that we made it this far. It's been a journey. And if you see me looking down in the video, I got my notes on my iPad, so excuse that. But anyways, like I said, I want to make sure I thank everybody for their love and their support and even their hate. I wouldn't have made it this far without you. So let's hop straight into the podcast. So like I said, two main things I want to talk about: Chauvin trial and Gwen Berry. Also, I want to know how y'all feel. I don't want anybody to ever think that they can't tell me how they feel. That's this whole point of the podcast. It's so that everybody understands that we in this together. So yeah, I want to know how y'all feel. I want to know what y'all think about the things that I say. With that being said, if we can't have a civil conversation, you will be blocked and you will be banned. You can disagree with me. That's what I don't mind that at all. But we have to be respectful to everybody regardless. So I just want to get that out the way. So let's hop straight into it. So, Derek Chauvin was sentenced to 22 years in prison for the murder of George Floyd. 22 years. A lot of us in the black community feel like that's not enough time. I mean, you can't really blame us. But at the same time, it is the longest sentence given to a police officer for something of this nature. This is the longest sentence. Now, we wanted the maximum, but we didn't get the maximum, but they still ended up giving him more than what was required. I believe it was 10 years. I could be wrong. He ended up getting 22 and a half plus time served. So we have to, take a win where we could take one. I know it might not be exactly what we wanted, but it's baby steps. The system ain't just gonna crumble right away. We have to be willing to continue to fight. We have to be willing to take wins when we can get them. And again, yeah, I know he should have got more time, but at the same time, justice is being served. And that's all we really want, especially in the black community. We want justice to be served. That's really it. So, and the reason why we feel like that, is because there's black men in prison right now and women in prison right now who have gotten life for small amounts of marijuana, small amounts of weed. They've given them life. There are a lot of innocent black men and women in jail right now serving life for crimes that they never even committed. So yeah, you can't really blame the black community for feeling like he should have got more time. I'm just saying. I mean, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, it's the truth. That's the reality of it. This is just the beginning. We have to start somewhere. And as we continue to fight for social justice and continue to fight for police accountability, we also have to remember that the attorneys for George Floyd are pushing for him to be convicted on federal civil rights charges. So it's not the end of the fight. It's going to continue. We are going to continue to push for more years because he deserves to be in there for life. Point blank period. What he did was completely wrong. It was in front of children. It was on camera. It was just a complete disregard for life, especially a black human being that's handcuffed on the ground with your knee in his neck. It's just a complete disregard. So again, to all my supporters, let's continue to push and push and push. Don't let this stop you. Continue to grind. One thing I do want to say to all my supporters: continue to push Congress to pass the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. Push for the strongest version of the bill. Continue to push for that. We need this. And we know changes aren't going to happen overnight, but the more you push, the more they're going to push back. So we have to continue to stand strong together. We have to continue to stand strong. We have to continue to fight. There's going to be a lot of people that disagree with you. There's going to be some in the black community that disagree with you. But as long as we stand united and we stay united as one front, then there's nothing they can do to stop us. So, like that being said, just continue to grind together, continue to love each other. One thing I do want to point out about this trial, and tell me if I'm wrong. This is just my opinion, but tell me if I'm wrong. And I know a majority of the black community feels the same way that I feel about this. But I want to know, what was the deal with Chauvin with his statement to the Floyd family? To me, that was the most disrespectful thing I have ever seen in a courtroom. Because the whole trial and the whole sentencing process, the whole time he was being given his sentence, he showed no remorse. None. So for you to be that cold-hearted and then to turn around and look the family in the eye and tell them there will be more information in the future that will be of interest, and I hope things will give you some peace of mind. Like, what does that even mean? Who does that? I mean, come on now. He was better off just not saying nothing at all, because then you leaving people like, dude, look at what you did. There's no other information that needs to be put out. Look at what you did. You murdered a man in cold blood on camera in front of children. What more do you need? We don't need to know anything else. There's no other information. The facts have already been presented. You have been found guilty and you're going to serve your time, whether you do the full 22 or not. So what was the point in even opening up your mouth and saying it was to me, it was just so cold-hearted, and it was so, I don't even know the words to really explain how it felt, but it was no remorse whatsoever. And you know, let's continue to keep the Floyd family in our prayers, you know, regardless of this clown. So let's go ahead and move on, because I don't want to give him any more airtime than what he deserves. He really deserves none at all. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments or whatever the case may be. So let's get on to it. Gwen Berry, an Olympic athlete and also an Olympic activist. So she's been in the news before for the Black Power Fist at another event, and they fined her, of course. That's what they do. But this time, it's even bigger. People are even more ticked off at her. And we trying to figure out, why are y'all mad and upset? I mean, we kind of know, but we kind of don't know at the same time, because half of y'all don't make sense anyways. But anyway, people are losing their mind. So she places third. I believe it was third. Yeah, she places third. And then as she's standing up on the podium with the other two Olympic winners, the national anthem begins to play. So she turns her back to the national anthem. And people are losing their mind. Oh my gosh. For those of you who listen to Fox News is losing their everlasting mind talking about her. You even got black men getting up on there talking about she should be removed, and some guy with an eye patch is some pirate on Fox News who's upset and mad, you know, calling her un-American and all this other type stuff. And instead of listening to what she was saying and why she did it, automatically y'all calling for her to be kicked out of the Olympics. First of all, it is very American for her to do what it was she did, because men and women fought and died for her right to be able to do that. And you cannot deny that. That's just facts. So no matter how anybody feels about what it is she did, you cannot deny the fact that men and women died for her to be able to do that. It's her right to protest. Second of all, you have to go and you have to listen to what she was told and why she did it. So, she's saying that she feels like it was a setup, and her and the other athletes were told that it wouldn't be played while they were up there. So she gets out there and they do the exact opposite. They do the exact opposite of what they told her. That's what upset her. But you also have to understand that she has even came out and said that I don't hate America. She loves America. But at the same time, for those of you who feel like, well, America gave her the right to be up there, wait a minute. America didn't give her the right to do anything. She earned her place up there. She put in the work. She put in her time. She put in her skill, her gift, and earned her place to be up there. So stop with this, America gave you the right to do this and America gave you the right to do that, but so you should just honor that. Wait a minute. Do you know what the national anthem to us represents? It still represents oppression for us. Let me give you a brief little history of why I say that, because a lot of people don't understand why we feel the way we feel about the national anthem. And that's because a lot of you don't take the time to try to sit down and listen to what we're telling you. So just a brief little history. So September of 1814, the British attacked and torched the White House. They burnt it down. I don't know if they burnt it down, but they torched the White House. And this became known as the War of 1812. And the British at this point had taken some prisoners. And there was a doctor from Prince George's County in Maryland. And a friend of this doctor sailed on a ship and he flew a truce flag and he wanted to renegotiate prisoners, to exchange with the Royal Navy. So he successfully accomplished this mission. And the British commanders agreed to free the doctor. But on the ship, there was a lawyer. His name was Francis Scott Key. And he overheard plans that there was going to be an attack on Baltimore. And him and this doctor, they would not be allowed to leave until that attack was over. So he ended up seeing the bombing of Fort McHenry while he was on this British ship. And from what the story says is he could see from his vantage point the American flag. So he could see the 15 stars and the 15 stripes. And the story goes that it was still waving. They dramatize everything, whatever words you want to use. But so it inspired him to write a poem about America and the flag. And not too long after that is when they put it to and turned it into a song. So a few things that you need to know about this war. And this is what needs to be taught. This is why it's important to teach these things in school. So this war of 1812, the British actually promised refuge to any enslaved black person who escaped their slave owners, their slave masters. And this ticked white America off. It ticked them off. And it made them scared. They were afraid that the blacks would rise up and begin to revolt against them. So in the final agreement, the final part of this agreement with enslaved blacks at this time, if they joined the British corps, they would actually give them land after their service. So we're talking about from the numbers that I've researched, they're talking about roughly around 4,000 people. 4,000 escaped slaves. If they came and they fought for the British Corps of Colonial Marines, that they would give them land and after their service. So this really ticked off white America. This ticked off white America bad. And again, it made them fearful. So it's important to remember that the Star-Spangled Banner was originally called the Defense of Fort Henry. And it has more than one verse. See, the thing that y'all stand up there and put your heart, your hand over your heart and honor today, there's more than one verse to it. And the second half of the verse says this: no refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. What does that sound like to y'all? You tell me. What does that sound like? It sounds like a threat. That no matter where you go, we'll get you. Nothing is going to stop us from getting you. They're talking to the slaves. This is a part of the national anthem, the original national anthem. And you wonder why we don't want to honor it. You wonder why we shouldn't honor it. So this is a clear reference to anybody that runs away and joins the Colonial Marines. Nothing will save you. Nothing will protect you. How sad is that? You're that upset and you're that mad that you have to threaten slaves that are just simply trying to be free. So this is, like I said, it's meant to threaten African Americans who took up the British on their offer. And so whether or not you feel as though the British, because I know there's a lot of people that feel like the British were manipulating the slaves, whether or not you feel that way, after it was over, the British did what they promised they were going to do. They gave them the land that they promised they were going to give them. And that was in Trinidad and Tobago, so that they could resettle with their families. So you can feel how you want to feel, but that's just fact. You can research that. You can look it up. Like I said, everything I do on here, I research anyways. And they're still there today. So people feel like, well, that's not saying anything, racist. It's not being racist or yada, 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 yada. But you also have to do your research on the man that wrote it. This man was a racist and a very outspoken racist. He actually was a descendant from wealthy plantation families. A wealthy plantation family. And they enslaved people. This is how he referred to black people as a distinct and inferior race. Can't get any more clear than that. And he supported after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed that blacks needed to be sent back to Africa. So after enslaving and using the forced labor of blacks to build the country, to build America, now if they're freed, you want them to just be sent back to Africa. Come on now. And this is the man that wrote the same national anthem that y'all are telling us to honor. So even during Andrew Jackson's administration, he served as the district attorney for Washington, D.C. And he spent a lot of time rallying up enslavers' power. And he enforced slave laws and prosecuted people who would pass out pamphlets that would making fun of them, and the pamphlets would read "Land of the Free, Home of the Oppressed." Because he was a clown. This dude was a clown. Complete clown. No denying it. He was a racist clown. Hands down. So that should give you a little bit of an understanding of what this national anthem means to Black Americans. Because it doesn't mean the same thing for white Americans as it does to Black Americans. For us, it's another symbol of oppression, like I said. It's another example where we are told to honor something that was used as a threat and a form of oppression for us. We are told to stand up and ignore the truth behind it just so white America can feel comfortable. We're supposed to sit back and be told to just honor something that was created for white America during a time where blacks were slaves. But we're supposed to ignore that and just honor it. No. It's another version, it's another example of whitewashed history. Because they don't teach it in schools. And this is why, like I talked about before, this is why critical race theory is important. Because this is in the very laws and the very system that we are told to honor and respect. But yet we don't get the same respect in return, and we never have. And until things change, we never will. So, was it un-American for her to do that? Absolutely not. No, it wasn't. And you could disagree with that all you want. It was not un-American for her to do that. It was her right to do that. She had every reason to be up there to do that. Freedom of speech, right? I don't care what anybody says. She had every right to do that. And again, you can let me know if you disagree or not. So the question is, why is everybody upset? If your whole argument is for us to follow the rules and for us to honor being an American, why be upset when she exercises her right as an American? Not even as a Black American, but as an American. Why not be understanding to that? Why are you so upset? And here's my philosophy on it. Here's why I think people are so upset. It's because you have been constantly lied to so much to where anything that goes against that lie makes you uncomfortable, and it makes you mad because you don't understand. Because all you understand is lies. So anything outside of that lie, oh, you're not patriotic, you're not an American. But as an American, I'm supposed to stand up for truth, honor, respect. But yet, as Black Americans, we are disrespected, we are not honored, we are treated like dirt. Where's our respect and honor? You want us to respect and honor America? Start respecting us. Start telling the truth about our history. Then you can ask for the same respect in return. Until then, you can't get upset and mad when we stand up for truth. And I see it all the time on my Facebook Black Liberty page. People think that being an American is downing and talking crazy about somebody just because of the color of their skin. Ignoring their history and ignoring what they're saying simply because you've been lied to so much. I see it all the time. So, with that being said, I want to thank everybody for listening. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I appreciate all the love and I appreciate all the support. Continue to show that love and that support. And again, let's have a civil conversation. Let's have a civil discussion, whether we agree or disagree with each other. Let's continue to do that in love. And like I always say, I love everybody of all races. Whether you're black, white, it don't matter. But the truth is the truth, and it needs to be taught, and it needs to be spoken. And I plan on speaking that truth. So again, I love everybody. Y'all have a blessed day. Continue to grind forward. Continue to push together in unity. Let's make some changes in this country. Enjoy your day.